Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the February 11th, 2020 meeting of the Orange County School Board. We're pleased to have all of you here. We have a lot of things to celebrate tonight. But before we begin our meeting, I'm going to ask that Dr. Gordon, if you would lead us in a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand, please.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to ask, I need to be excused for just a minute. I'm going to ask if Vice Chair Gould would take over the meeting at this point.
Good evening and welcome to Orange County Public School Board meeting, regularly scheduled meeting for Tuesday, February 11th. Tonight we are recognizing a very special group of people. Just a few minutes ago, we celebrated Crossing Guard Appreciation Day with all of our crossing guards by taking a photo. And tonight we have invited them as a group to come here so that we can thank them for the very, very, very important job that you do every day. And by the way, you all make my day when I'm driving through West Orange County and wave at me. I love that. I can not tell you how important their role is in helping students get to and from school safely. You know the saying, it takes a village. Well, they are a big part of that village and helping to keep our kids safe every day. And unfortunately, we have had crossing guards themselves get injured on the job due to careless drivers. So this is more important than ever. Perfect timing.
I keep this in my car. You never know. You never know when you're going to, and I've been trained. You all have trained me, and I'm ready. Although it is a dangerous job and it takes a lot of energy, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but having walked in your shoes just a little bit, I drive by, and every time I see a crossing guard, don't you all just admire and appreciate the fact that what you do is life-saving, it's critical, and you don't just save lives, just being there in the morning and being a friendly smile for the kids, a familiar, friendly smile. It all matters. It all adds up. Thank you. Back to you.
Well, I think we've covered the pedestrian safety and how you've set the tone for the community each and every morning and afternoon. Tonight, Fire Health Safety Director Rich Kirkham is with us to introduce the group. Thank you and welcome.
Good evening. Madam Chair, school board members, Superintendent Jenkins, good evening. Each day, dedicated school crossing guards arrive at the assigned posts to help our students safely continue to and from school. On February 12th, the majority of the states will celebrate School Crossing Guard Appreciation Day. However, the state of Florida chose to recognize school crossing guards on February 7th. In Orange County, there are approximately 600 school guards posts. We are pleased to honor these men and women for their dedication and commitment to keeping our students safe from traffic hazards. At this time, will the school crossing guards and their coordinators in attendance please stand as I read the Crossing Guard Appreciation Day proclamation. Whereas each and every day, every school day, hundreds of dedicated school crossing guards working throughout Orange County provide an invaluable service in helping to ensure the safe passage of our students as they commute between home and school. And whereas Orange County Public Schools places a top priority on student safety and recognizes that school crossing guards play a critical role in supporting our students' education by ensuring that safety when crossing busy roads. And whereas school crossing guards work in partnership with school staff and parents to reinforce bicycle and pedestrian safety practices among our students. And whereas school crossing guards remain ever alert to possible safety concerns at school crossings, and whereas school crossing guards often encounter challenging and sometimes hazardous conditions during the performance of their duties. And whereas the state of Florida has declared February 7th, 2020 as Crossing Guard Appreciation Day in Florida, and now, therefore, be it resolved that Orange County Public Schools encourages everyone to consider the safety and health of children today and every day, and does hereby proclaim February 7th, 2020 in Orange County as School Crossing Guard Appreciation Day. Give a round of applause, please.
Thank you. And again, to each and every one of you for what you do, and everyone that you help train, all of our crossing guards that are out there every morning and every afternoon, keeping our kids safe and giving us certainly the peace of mind. And if there are no further comments from board members, we are going to move on to our next recognition. Tonight, we have some outstanding athletes that we're recognizing from the fall. In fact, a lot of outstanding athletes. In case you weren't aware, Orange County Public Schools made history. Crossing guards, do you guys want to go? Yeah, I remember somebody say you had to get out of here before tomorrow morning. We'll let you all are free to go. Thank you so much. Thank you. So this past fall, Orange County made athletic history. And we have Chief of Schools, Dr. Harold Border, is here to explain. Dr. Border, there you are.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair Gordon, and board members, Superintendent Jenkins, and staff. I'm excited to be with you tonight to share what happened on December 13th and 14th, 2019, when Orange County Public Schools history was made, when 3 of our high school football teams played in their respective state championship classification games. There was tremendous support at the games in Daytona, led by respective board members from District 5, Dr. Gordon, District 6, Dr. Castor-Dental, and District 7, Ms. Bird, along with Superintendent Jenkins and many, many, many others from Orange County. We watched our Jones Tigers, our Edgewater Eagles, and our Apopka Blue Darters participate in exciting and closely contested games that weekend. Our student athletes represented, most importantly, Orange County Public Schools with character and class, which is a direct representation of stellar coaches, athletic directors, and school administrative teams. At this time, I welcome OCPS, Orange County Public Schools Senior Administrator for Athletics, Mr. Doug Patterson, to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Border, Madam Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Jenkins. Due to the size of the teams, we will bring the teams into the room individually, beginning with the Edgewater Eagles. Before we turn it over to Edgewater's head coach, we have some additional news to share with you tonight. I've had all 3 head coaches join me at the front of the room. Elijah Williams, Jones High School, Jeff Rolson, Apopka High School, and Cameron Duke from Edgewater High School. I also would like to welcome up for the special presentation Edgewater Principal, Dr. Mark Shanoff. We would like to congratulate Edgewater head coach Cameron Duke. He was recently announced as the 2019 Florida Dairy Farmers Coach of the Year. Coach Duke is the first football coach in Central Florida since 1992 to receive this top honor. He just finished his 3rd season at Edgewater. The Eagles were district and regional champs this season. In fact, Edgewater head coach Jeff Rollison and Jones head coach Elijah Williams were also both finalists for the Coach of the Year as well. We want to congratulate each of them for their hard work and their accomplishments. At this time, I would like to invite Coach Duke up to receive his award. I will now turn it over to Coach Duke to tell you about his team and their winning season in Class 7A. Coach.
Thank you, Coach Patterson. This award is something that's really special because it is a Coach of the Year award, but everyone knows that what makes a great coach is a great community, a great coaching staff, a great administration, but most importantly, great players. I look at this as a Team of the Year award, as the 2019 Edgewater Eagles. This award will not tell you what these young men have accomplished, because you're looking at a bunch of young men in the back of the room and that aren't here tonight that literally have changed their lives over the last 3 years, academically, in who they are as people. So this is a special group. 4 years ago in 2016, they did not win a game. 2017, they won 9 games. 2018, they won 12. And this past year, they won 13 games, finishing 13-2. And an unbelievable year with a GPA that's right around 3.0 cumulative GPA and a test score right at 1,000 on the SAT. Fortunate to have 13. Very fortunate to have 13 players sign scholarships this past signing day that will go on and continue their athletic and academic career. It's a testament to their hard work and who they are. I'm very fortunate and blessed to work with great coaches that at the end of the day understand that hopefully we're coaching and showing the love of God to these young men each and every day. And I want to welcome the 2019 Edgewater Eagles.
I think you have some parents. Bless you. Bless you. God bless you. Bless you. God bless you. Here he is. Y'all don't get up. She done told me about it. God bless you. God bless you.
Shanoff's had it for like 2 months. Yeah, I know.
Before Coach Duke gets out of the room, Coach Duke, before you leave, Coach, you said, first of all, do we have parents with these kids? Any parents here today with the students the athletes we just recognized? Okay. Coach, before you leave, you mentioned all the people it takes to make a great coach. That is all true. I mean, without the supportive families and community, you're right. But I tell you what it takes to make a great coach, and that's heart. And nobody can instill that in somebody. So thank you for the heart that you have for this job, for the commitment you have to our students, and the incredible change you made in their lives. Thank you. And thank you. And we have a comment from also from Dr. Castrodental.
Yes, thank you. I want to take a point of personal privilege and just congratulate my former student, Christian Leary, on the Edgewater team. Can you hold your hand up there? I taught him in 3rd grade at Domerick, and he was a brilliant student, and I won't talk about the flips that he did when I turned my back.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yes, he had athletic ability for a long time.
Wow.
Congratulations, Christian.
Awesome, awesome.
We know he could hear.
All right.
All right, thank you and congratulations to Edgewater. Now I would like to invite Jones head coach to the front of the boardroom, Coach Elijah Williams, who just finished his 4th year representing the Tigers and Class 5A. Coach Williams.
Hey, hey, hey.
Good evening. I was hoping I wouldn't be the only one with some notes up here, so you're right, so I'm good. Just to talk about this team here, and I really want to kind of speak about the seniors because this is our 4th year, and I've been with these guys for 4 years. So in 4 years, we had 64 students sign scholarships to go off to college in 4 years. In these 4 years, we won 3 consecutive district championships. First ever Metro Conference championships in history of the school. And this year was the first time that we advanced to the state championship in school history as well. So some of the accomplishments these seniors did. Most importantly, we had 17 seniors this season. and this season was really predicated on their leadership. On National Signing Day, which is when the football student athletes sign scholarships in February, out of the 17, we had 17 student athletes offered a scholarship to college. So as we know, a state championship team goes from really August to December. So throughout those months, not only these guys excel in the class on the field, they excel in the classroom as well, and must put themselves in a situation, in a position to accept these scholarships. I know it's going to be lengthy, but I want to name each student's name and the college they signed to. Dominic Hill, University of South Carolina. Jaquay Williams, Albany State University. Himlet Gerlis, Lane College. Traquan Thomas, Alabama State University. Brian Moore, Bethune-Cookman University. Evan Anderson, Florida Atlantic University. Avarius Sparrow, University of West Virginia. Chaden Robinson, University of Davenport. Antonio Henry, Lane College. Mendez Jean Baptiste, Gardner-Webb University. Rodney Eccles, Alabama State University. Dakari Allen Johnson, Bethune-Cookman University. Carlos Nelson, Lane College. Dalvin Leggett, Florida Atlantic University. Darius Wyatt, Alabama A&M University. And Jonathan Johnson, Bethune-Cookman University. And Coach Duke said it best, and the board member said it as well. We couldn't do this without a village, without the parents, without support from your principal administration, and without the school board as well. It takes a village to raise these young men nowadays, and we're just thankful for the recognition. So now I want to introduce the 2019 5A state runner-ups, Jones High School.
Love you so much. Oh, man. Okay, I'm gonna do it, then going out the door.
Okay, okay.
Can I?
Yes, Dr. Gordon. wants to be
Coach
recognized.
Williams and to Principal Allison Kirby, you really have made us proud. This year, they got to get out the door so we can get the next champions in. They may not say they're state champs, but they're champions for OCPS. But we thank you for your leadership. Ms. Allison Kirby, your athletic director, and all of the staff. I love those kids that help y'all every time them guys go down. But one thing I want to say, you, Coach, when you talked about Northwestern and Jones High, how historical that was for all of us to be together. And this being Black History Month, you really made us proud. The media just thinks the world of you and your team because of the sportsmanship. So Dr. Jenkins have love rivalry going on. This is really love rivalry. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts as an entire board. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations to Jones. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to invite up Apopka head coach, first year in the position, Jeff Rollison. Please come to the podium to introduce the Blue Darters representing Class 8A.
All right, relay boys.
Well, they say it's better to be lucky than good. I guess I was lucky to get up there first year and have the opportunity to make the run that we made. But, you know, Apopka is a special place. It's had a great tradition of excellence, and the cupboard wasn't bare. and our kids are very mentally tough, physically tough. The community is passionate about our football program, and they're passionate about our school. What Coach Duke said is 100% correct. We have to have players, we have to have coaches, you have to have administrative support and able to have success. For us, when we got there, and when I say we, I'm talking about our kids and our staff, we're trying to mentor and build young men, and we're trying to provide them with an opportunity to better themselves, to be a better husband, a better father down the road. If we can do those things, then the football will take care of itself. And I think that's what happened for us this year. We had a lot of adversity. We lost our arguably our best player in the spring, and then our top two backs the first week, and we just kept plugging. We had some kids that played both ways, and of course we had some fantastic players, there's no question, and coaches. But we kept our nose to the grindstone, and we found a way to get there. And, we've been blessed. It's the fifth trip to the final for Apopka, and I've been at every one the first time as a head coach, so I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for our coaches, our administration, and our young men, and giving them an opportunity at the next level, whether it's football or journalism school, it doesn't matter, is most important. And we had 2 sign on the first signing day and 10 on the second. And of course, we're working through some small college fairs and things of that nature. So we're hoping to sign 4 or 5 more, but very, very proud of them. And I'm thankful to be their coach, the 2019 Apopka Blue Darters.
How do you coach? I know, but listen, but you guys are tough. Love you guys. All right, y'all know, y'all know, you know. All right, who went to Dream Lake? Somebody on that team had to Dream Lake. Love you guys. Know your mom. Congratulations. Proud of you guys. Very proud. Proud of you guys. Now, y'all AMEs. Y'all know some of y'all AMEs. Baptists. All right. Church of Christ. I got you. I know you. Them boys, you know them, but you know Dream Lake over there in my heart. Okay. I'm still hanging in there. I love you all. Y'all bad. Yeah, y'all made us feel like.
Thank you. Great to see you.
That's not now.
Oh my God, no.
That was nice, Melissa.
Okay, let's hear from Member Byrd.
I just want to thank you, Coach and Principal Heinz, for all of your hard work. You're right, the community support is just unbelievable, and what you do for that community when your team works as hard as they did, and they persevered through some things, and that what I saw coming through in that community and how excited everyone was and the way it just brought everyone together, it's a beautiful thing. I love it, and I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing for these young men and their lives. So thank you and congratulations. We're so proud of you.
Thank you for having us tonight. We appreciate you recognizing this historic football season for OCPS, and we hope to see you recognizing winter sports very soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. And let me take a moment to also recognize Dr. Gordon for bringing this up at a recent meeting and saying, you know what, this was a cause for celebration, and we wanted to make sure we celebrated here. So thank you for the tremendous job you're doing. It's immeasurable, the change that you are making in our children's lives through athletics. There's no question that these men are going to grow up to be much more responsible human beings and have a much more positive outcome in their lives. And it's because of what they're learning from team sports. So thank you. Yeah. And that was fun. Yeah. Whew, how do you come down off of that high, right? Whoa. I think the only thing more exciting about all those athletes is getting to celebrate next to Dr. Gordon.
That was so much fun.
Okay. Dr. Jenkins, do we have any administrators, newly appointed administrators?
We
to
do,
celebrate?
Madam Chair.
Great.
Members of the board, we have two to introduce to you tonight. Christopher Gomes was an instructional coach at Lake Silver Elementary. He will be the new assistant principal at Tangelo Park Elementary School.
Thank you, school board members, Superintendent Jenkins, and staff for this opportunity to serve at Tangelo Park Elementary. I would like to take this time to thank my family and my friends who are my family just for uplifting me and tolerating me for all these years and all of my crazy endeavors. My mentors, my silent mentors, and the amazing teachers and dean that I've worked with over the past few years. Thank you so much for being just inspirational in my life. And my current principal, thank you for everything. And I'm so excited to join the family and be a part of Tangelo Park Elementary. Thank you so much.
Secondly, we have Latonya Smith, who was dean at Evans High School, will be the assistant principal at Evans High School.
Thank you, school board members, Superintendent Jenkins, and staff for this opportunity to serve at Evans High School. I'd like to thank my family who's here today, my daughter, mother, aunt, brother, nephew, my sister, and cousin who are streaming live on YouTube. My children family, Mr. Bailey, all assistant principals, and other staff, and mentors, Ms. Gibson-Link, Ms. Tolbert, Ms. Wiggins, and everyone else who's helped me throughout my career in education.
Pardon me? I'm sorry, do I have somebody to recognize? No, you might. Oh, magic. I understand we may also have some principals that are here joining us for the meeting tonight. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Can you all stand up and be recognized?
All right. Wow.
Oh, okay, we won't be able to hear you, but the mic won't pick it up. Well, but if you don't mind, just if you can announce what schools you're with, name and school. Oh, he has a mic. Awesome. Thank you.
Lakeitha Black, Tangelo Park Elementary.
Okay.
Doug Guthrie, Windermere High School.
Good evening. I'm Beth Prince from Lake Whitney Elementary.
Jim Weiss, Palm Lake Elementary.
Monica Johnson, Castle Creek Elementary.
Diana Greer, Windermere Elementary. Mandy Ellis, Endeavor Elementary.
Alali Vasquez, Meadow Woods Elementary.
Kenesha Holmes, Hidden Oaks Elementary.
Seth Dobb, the Great Catalina Elementary.
Allison Kirby from the Great Jones High School, principal and also part-time football coach, right?
Hey.
Pass that microphone all the way over
Please,
here to
all the way to the man in the green shirt. The man in the green shirt.
Well, I have to do it the Evans way. I'm principal of 4949 Silver Star Road, Evans High School. Thank you.
Awesome.
Rolando Bailey, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Dr. Jenkins. That's fun. That's
more
fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We're thrilled to have.
Meet the principals.
I know, absolutely. We're thrilled to. It's just better than the principal calling you to their office.
Right.
I still have nightmares about that. Anyway, it's wonderful to have you all with us. For our newly appointed administrators, you and your family, everyone who's here that doesn't want to be here any longer is welcome to leave. But we're going to continue on with our meeting. But I'm serious. I think our principals, are you staying with us? We'd love to have you, but okay. Everybody else, honestly, you don't have to stay.
Thank you. They are. Yeah, thank you. I love that idea that you're doing. It's very innovative.
All right, let me ask before we start if we have any members of the public that wish to speak regarding anything that's on the agenda tonight. And Ms. McGill? No? All right. Then I will skip the requirements of public speaking since there are no public speakers. We have nothing on the non-consent agenda. Let me ask the superintendent if we have any changes to the agenda.
No changes to the agenda, Madam Chair.
All right. Then are there any members of the board that have any concerns about the agenda? And if not, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Motion to adopt the agenda by the Vice Chair, seconded by Member Cobert. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And for information, we are already on to information items. Dr. Jenkins.
Just a couple of things, members of the board. First, promised we would keep you updated regarding our citizens from Puerto Rico after the last tragedy with the earthquake. Wanted to give you an update. We have increased from initially 150 students who've moved into our area to 189 students enrolled in our district. Nowhere near what we had from our neighbors coming in after the last hurricane incident. But I promise to keep you updated. 189 is actually our enrollment count from Puerto Rico. Secondly, as the staff is getting that photo ready for me, I wanted to show you the groundbreaking ceremony photo that was shared. This will be the Boys and Girls Club at the Jacqueline Bradley and Clarence Otis Family Branch, which will actually be at our property for Orange Center. Orange Center, you wish, Seth, sorry. I'm sorry, Catalina. I'm trying to throw Seth off if you'll let me. There was a subliminal joke there. I'm sorry, nobody got it.
Yes.
Dr. Gordon got it.
I got it.
So the groundbreaking takes place, but here is what is so exciting. Look at that building. We had individuals, and Schenkel and Schultz, by the way, did this work pro bono to design it, as well as other engineers and others who are contributing their work here. That building is probably to the tune of about $9 million, but we heard comments like, we wanted this. Jacqueline Bradley insisted that this would be state-of-the-art Boys and Girls Club, second to none. It is the largest for Central Florida. I believe it's about 30,000 square feet. It will feature a full gymnasium, a dance and aero studio, a commercial kitchen, music rooms, art studies, and more. The largest in Central Florida. About $9 million. The Otis family contributed nearly half of that amount, and then they had to get some matching funds and challenges, and they have raised the dollars for their actual groundbreaking. It will be finished December/January timeframe, and they installed at that meeting, Dr. Gordon and member Gallo were both at the groundbreaking, and they installed the first members. About half a dozen young people got their official cards and their T-shirts as the first members of that Boys and Girls Club. We are ecstatic and so thankful to community members who would donate their own dollars. And they mentioned specifically, Jacqueline Bradley comes out of Cleveland. They have a lot of needs in Cleveland. Don't tell Eric Gordon, that's my good friend who's superintendent there. They could use this kind of donation. Clarence Otis is actually from Watt, and they announced that he was from Compton. He said, actually, we moved up to Compton from Watts, grew up in Watts and moved up to Compton. So grew up with pretty severe poverty issues in his family and in his neighborhood. So they could have contributed the money elsewhere. They are still world travelers, but have been in the Central Florida community. If you remember, Clarence Otis was the CEO for Darden Restaurant for many years and been here for about 25 years, and they were committed to investing here. And quite often, the Otis family make contribution, but they insist on being anonymous. Jacqueline Bradley said, we wanted to be public about this contribution to send a message to the community and to the young people at Orange Center Elementary School that people who look like them actually have the resources to help build this beautiful complex. And so, again, we are very thankful. Kiwanis Club contributed, Walt Disney World, Darden Restaurants, Harold Mills and Tom Siddimer were some of the personal contributors to this as well. TLC Engineering, BBM Structural Engineers, Climate Week Civil Engineering, and PSE Design Group. Lots of personal and corporate contributions to make this a reality. I want to thank this board as well for agreeing to that MOU with Lift Orlando that included a provision for a Boys and Girls Club on our property. Very similar, they almost have all of the pieces in place. I'm still waiting for the scholarship money, but almost all the pieces in place for the community school at ACE here in our downtown area. Except for the scholarship dollars that they're looking for. They've got a contribution off our property for a preschool that will be ready to open shortly. Health amenities in the next door neighbor property. and now the Boys and Girls Club. And so we are just so excited about what this will mean for our children and for the community in the Orange Center area that is just being transformed thanks to so many efforts coordinated by Lyft. So I wanted you to see the rendering. We shoveled a little bit of sand ceremonially. It was that couldn't have been from the actual property because it looked like beach sand, but it was lovely. And got a few photos that we can certainly share with you as well. Don't know if Member Gallo or Dr. Gordon want to add anything to that, but that is my report I wanted to share with the board.
Member Gallo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It was a lovely event, and I was proud to play a part of it and to support Dr. Gordon and Dr. Jenkins yesterday. I do have a question regarding the Puerto Rico students, if I may, Chair. I know that we have 189. Have we gotten any communications from the Department of Education or the governor in regards to those students, especially our seniors, on how we'll handle graduation? Because I know that I've reached out. I know several legislators that have reached out, and they have not received any information back. So I'm wondering if we have as a school district.
Dr. Jenkins.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Member Gallo, we have not received official communication. I will tell you we intend to operate under the guidelines we had previously. So we will certainly make sure those students are taken care of.
All right. Legal. Sorry. Let me check real quickly. Do we have anything from legal?
I'll save my comments about the Boys and Girls
okay.
Club in my report.
Ms. Enville, do you have anything for the board? Okay, then let's move on. We have several reports from Dr. Gordon.
Okay. I know most of you do have your board doc open. If you could go to 20.01, Elevation School Report. I represented you well. I normally say that because I did. I really did. It was one of the best experiences that I've ever had. I attended the Elevation Scholars interview, and I represented Miss Angie Gallo. I represented, let me make sure I got it right, Dr. Pastor Dental, and I represented Joanna. You guys could not make it. And I let them know that you were out doing other things for the school district, so we were well represented. This was just incredible. I got to meet Gary Kane's son-in-law, which was unbelievable. Dr. Truitt, Joshua Truitt, married Gary Kane's daughter. Reaching high-performing, high-need student leaders. The Elevation Scholars Program provides purposeful support from high school to college graduation. The program prepares students for success at the nation's most elite public and private colleges and universities through the students. They do clubs, college coaching, professional development opportunities, and they do the Elevation Scholars Award. If you look in your board doc, I gave you your flyers that you can print out and have your staff member send it to your schools so that they will know. They will also send me even the questions sometime. They have a rubric, but it's a 5-year commitment. When they ask us to come, we actually, as board members, sit in on, they did it in the PNC building, they have that, and Chris King's entire office, it was just wonderful. So I put some pictures in there for you of the students, and we took a lot of pictures. There were so many parents in there. It was, Edgewater Jones, I had them written down here. I wanted you to know what schools they did because they do them in sections. And I thought here they are. It was Edgewater, Jones, Oak Ridge. I know it was Joanna's school and your school. Colonial. And they were there. The students were well dressed. They drilled those students. They don't know what the questions are, but they go in and they're so professional. But here is the kicker. They drill the parents. And if you need to ask parents questions, they will ask. They're looking for kids, they want you to have good grades. but they're looking for the kids that can make it. And when that gentleman told Mr. True told a young lady, listen, we're not just sending you to a regular college, not that we have anything against state colleges, we're sending you to the top of, we're talking about Duke and, oh my God, he just named so many, it just blew my mind. So it's the higher upper echelon end of the universities, Harvard and Yale, Columbia, Mr. Rosen, where does Mr. Rosen go to? What's the college, Dr. Jenkins, he uses where he graduated? Cornell. And I know one of our students from that interview will get to go to Cornell, because that student say, if I could go anywhere, I want to go to Cornell. And then when one person kept saying, well, I want to go to University of Gainesville, and they kind of look, well, you might not be the one we're looking for, because we're looking for kids that have a desire that want to go higher. And that blew my mind. So I left these two flyers are in your package on elevation. So, okay, if you would go to 2002 in your board doc for me, please. There's a package in there for you. And we have to brag because we're celebrating, I wore my pin tonight, Dr. Jenkins. We're celebrating 150 years, okay? And recently I attended the Jones High School 125th year anniversary. I gave you the history in the making of Jones. And several, Dr. Lawson and, oh my God, Dr. Boarder, over the high school, they have been working with us through Jones throughout the years, many of those years. But I gave you a wonderful history. I do hope that you read it, because Jones is one of the oldest schools in Orange County. There were over 3,000 people in attendance on that field. And if you look in there, you will see the historical background. You will see how they are hosting. They hosted that kickoff with the grand football on the field. And we were taking a selfie. All the kids I taught at Orange Center, and I graduated. I did everybody's graduation from 2000 to 2019. And I did my own children's graduation. They were there. They were on the field. My son and his kids and my grandchildren. And I asked him, I said, where are you all going to go? We're going to Jones High. It's just a history there. But our picture was captured in the Sentinel local and state, and Dr. Jenkins brought me a copy. And I can send it to my family. But this was the most exciting fun. They honored so many wonderful people that went to Jones. Each class had their own, but I got to give it to Principal Allison Kirby and Keisha Baker. There were classes there from 1955 all the way up to 2020. The 2020 even had a booth, but 1955. But the local and state gave us a nice plug, and Allison gave a nice comment. So now, if you go to the last one, Dr. Jenkins did it. She showed out yesterday. It was her day. It was operations. And I just sat back and had a great time. And I did get called in to do the shovel. That did me all the good in the world, Dr. Lawson. I wanted to do that shovel. Dr. Jenkins know why. And my principal let me off, and I love it to go and be there. And Angie Gallo was there representing the board. She represented the board. We had an opportunity to talk with Jackie and Otis, and they have done so much for us. Like I said, under Dr. Lawson, under Dr. Bridget Williams, they would come and give us facilities for our teachers to do all the training in the Darden restaurant. They would feed us all the time, believe it or not. They really would. But I attended, as Dr. Jenkins did, the Boys and Girls Club of Central Florida, Jacqueline Bradley and Clarence Otis Family Branch groundbreaking on February the 10th at Orange Center Elementary. They gave us $9 million. Did you hear me? Yeah. And then Disney gave us $250,000. And who gave us, Dr. Jenkins, the $500,000? The Kiwanis? Okay, got it. That's what we received on yesterday. I put for those board members that love to run with the higher ups, if you look at that program agenda, now listen, Mayor Jacobs, who was Mayor Jacobs, she knows every one of these people because I worked on several boards with her, and she knows every one. So I put those names there for you guys for future references. Y'all know what I'm talking about, all right? So you need the names, and just you can send them a little thank you. You know how grateful you were, build that little reputation, and you're gonna love it. So there are all of the names, and this was just about one of the finest events that I went to. Now, one thing he did say, they could have taken it away from us, and one time they were going to take it, you know, because sometimes people want certain things. But I really want to thank Dr. Jenkins and her staff for working in that community and helping us to be able to get everything set up. My dream was to do the ACE and the Washington Shores, working with Teresa, Head Start, to get that at the Washington Shores Elementary School without tearing down Richmond Heights. And we were able to do that because you allowed us. And Dr. Jenkins, but her dream was to put those babies, she always called them the babies. She wanted those babies on Orange Center campus. And look at her face. See what I told you? You all need to see that. These are kids that are not public school students, but they're going to be coming in. That was her dream. And when she told me that, I just stepped back and got out of the way. I said, okay, you know, that's why I say believe in your dream. You cannot stop dreaming, because when you stop dreaming, things stop happening. You got a dream, and if you conceive it and believe it, you shall receive it. So thank you, Madam Chair. So that ends my report. You can see I had a great time this weekend.
You certainly did, and I know everybody that was with you had a great time
Yes,
as well. So next we're going to hear from Member Gallo, Chairman of our Legislative Committee.
Oh, thank you, Madam Chair. So just a few things to report. I know that we reported on the FSBA, the legislative days that we had up there. We had a great time. We took pictures, we met with our delegation, and we had some successful meetings, so we're happy to report that. I also, after immediately following the FSBA legislative days, I went to the Florida PTA legislative conference because I still am the vice president of educational development for the Florida PTA. And we had a great conference as well. We had Chancellor Oliva, we had Vice Chancellor Dr. Paul Burns in attendance. We got a special visit from Chair Tuck from the State Board of Education, as well as teachers of the years from different districts across the state. I actually had the opportunity to sit in on a private meeting with the teachers of the year and the Department of Education with Chancellor Oliva. And I just have to say that we know we have great teachers, right? Like, we know that they're awesome, and we know how hard they work and how dedicated they are. But to be in a room full of such bright minds with such great ideas, just sitting around brainstorming and coming up with great ideas and things for our children and what we could do better and what we do great and what we'd like to see, was the highlight of my 2.5 weeks that I spent in Tallahassee. And I could have literally spent my entire day just following those teachers around. So I wanted to mention that. And then I wanted to mention that the standards have come out. I'm sure everybody's been aware of it, but the standards were released through the new best standards. They're up on the Florida Department of Education for everybody to review. They are going to be presented at the State Board of Education meeting tomorrow in Tallahassee, which begins at 9. So if anybody's bored and you need something to do, you can tune into the My Florida channel and witness it in all of its glory. I actually sat on the especially stakeholder committee for the ELA portion of the standards as part of the PTA. So I'm actually very pleased with these standards and what I've seen so far. I think that they took the input of the teachers and the parents that participated. So I'm pleased. We'll see how they roll out. We'll see what happens as they go along. I know that there was a lot of changes in math as well, but from what I'm seeing so far, I'm encouraged, and It's not many times that we get to sit up here and say that it was a transparent process and that they involved all stakeholders, and they've promised that moving forward as we look at new testing, new things, that it'll continue to be transparent, and they'll involve stakeholders as well. So I just wanted to give an update on that. And then to let everybody know that the budget has dropped in both the House and the Senate. They're about $200 million apart between the education budgets. So we'll be watching that. That will go to conferencing, and we'll know in the next few weeks how that will pan out. And there's several different bills that that will impact education. So just kind of pay attention. And then finally, when I was up there in Tallahassee, Timber Lakes Middle School came up with the Florida PTA. And they were 2 7th grade civics classes. These kids were so awesome. And we were able to get them on the Senate floor to meet with Senator Stewart. They were on the House floor, and they met with Representative Placencia. And then the governor's office was so kind to allow us to bring them into the governor's office, and they got to meet First Lady Casey DeSantis. And it was just an awesome time. And what a neat experience and trip for that civics class. So that's my report, Madam Chair.
Awesome. Very good. Any questions? Awesome. Yeah. Good to hear the feedback in terms of the transparency and the process. It certainly seemed that way, but I know you've been intimately involved, so that's really helpful to hear. And I know we'll, at some point, we'll be getting a report, Dr. Jenkins, I imagine, from academics after they've had a chance to pour through the details. And but everything I've heard so far has been very positive, which is such a nice thing to hear. Budget, maybe not so much, but that's another matter. So let me take us to 2 other issues. One is the Mental Health Commission that starts meeting tomorrow. First meeting is tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. It's going to be in the cafe. Ms. McGill, do you have a mic? Cafe A? Okay, everybody knows where that is. We were hoping to have the meetings in the back of the chambers here, where it's a little bit more accessible, but there is a meeting going, commitment already, and I think they have like 60 people, and so we will have a much smaller group, I hope. I mean, it's great to have a lot of turnout. There will be 13 official members on the commission. There are a lot of people who have expressed interest, so we will, without question, even if there weren't, we would be breaking out and creating committees and probably work groups to delve deeper into issues. So as you might hear of people that have an interest, keep that information coming in. Dr. Schuler is not serving on the committee, and one of the reasons for that is the sunshine and to be able to have open communication with her. But I would say provide information to her as you hear from people who have an interest, concern, or want to have input. It will be a sunshine meeting, so that means that we will take public input, obviously. We've invited members of the board. I know we've heard from a couple of board members who may be able to make it. I think, Member Gallo, I think you're confirmed. What I was hoping for those of you who are able to make it is at the beginning, if you would make some welcoming remarks and yeah, and you plan to be there? Wonderful, okay. And we'll make sure that board members know when each meeting is happening. And I think if you haven't already, you'll be getting an agenda for the first meeting. Second thing I wanted to take up will take just a minute longer, well, maybe a few minutes longer. But at the last meeting, there, and I'll be honest, I don't think I was prepared for the conversation, but Member Vice Chair Gould brought up something important, and that was the newsletter that had come out from GOBA. So I wanted to take a minute to pass this down. This was the newsletter that they had sent out. And I'm not sure how many people had had a chance to read it. The Vice Chair had received a copy, and I had received indirectly a copy. And we both had some concerns. The Vice Chair suggested that although we'd had conversations with their Legislative Affairs Director, that it would be beneficial to meet with the Executive Director and the Chair. And so we sought a meeting with them, and we got a meeting not only with the Executive Director and the Chair, but there were also, I believe, 4 other members of their board. One of them is Vivian Monaco, who was Assistant County Attorney at Orange County. When all of these vehicles, the charter amendment was adopted, she was there when the CEA process was first started. So the good news is, and she's on their board, so the good news is she's intimately familiar with this. The conversation was so productive. So I want to thank you for your recommendation. The goal was to make sure, when we read this, we realized there might be some confusion about roles and responsibilities. And so we saw this as an opportunity, one, to clear that up, and to make sure that they understood the predicament that Orange County Public Schools finds itself in, and why we're seeking a legislative fix to this. And I just don't know how. I don't know how the meeting could have been more positive or productive. And so I wanted to make sure that you all knew that. I did want to go over what was technically not correct in this. If we can take just a minute, I highlighted it for you all. The first paragraph, I think, is fine. It's the second paragraph. And it says, at this time, the Orange County School Board is taking the position that no CEAs applied for after July 1st, 2019 will be approved. And the fact is, the Orange County School Board has not taken a formal position. We all knew when the bill passed, and we had the conversation that that bill was going to create a problem, because for us to approve mitigation agreements, we actually have to take in additional mitigation dollars, and we weren't going to be able to keep those dollars because they were going to be credited back and reducing our impact fees. So we knew that situation, but the board never took a position. I actually thought that that might be received as kind of splitting hairs, but I was so pleasantly surprised by Mr. Harshgrove and his response to that he understands as a board member the difference between something that happens at GOBA and something that he personally voted on. So he completely understood that. The next place where it says this makes CEAs unworkable for the school board, again, it has made CEAs, and our legal team is going to brief everybody individually, but it has created the problem that we expected. And the legal team and the planning department has not been submitting those CEAs to us because of House Bill 71. But it's not that it's unworkable for the school board. And the school board, are taking the position they cannot satisfy. Again, the school board hasn't formally taken a position. We haven't been in a position to take a position because the staff hasn't been in a position to bring us these CEAs. And it is not just our staff, it is also the county legal team that has been meeting with our staff that also concurs there is no way to work around this legislation. So again, it's not a school board as much as it is the legal in both the county and the school district. And then the last place where it says, therefore the school board will not allow CEAs to move forward. Again, at this point, there has been no opportunity for the school board to even consider the CEAs. And again, our legal team will be meeting with each of you individually to answer any questions so that we don't take up too much time here. The outcome of this was that Mr. Harshgrove, on his own, I didn't ask him to rewrite this, but he felt it was important to send something else out. They understand the situation. That was a number of their board members, but that was not their whole membership. This does not mean that when their membership meets on the 19th of February and they discuss this issue that their membership is going to agree. But the meeting that we had was very productive, and they did feel it was important to send out something that had more clarity and help their members explain the situation that's been created by this, as he referred to it, 6 sentences that were added to House Bill 7103. And what that has done. The last part of this is where it says that as a result, CEAs in process are indefinitely stalled, halting developments. Again, they are stalled. Whether or not that's halting development is really a decision that the cities and the county need to make, because they do have a process to move forward even without the CEAs. But what it does require is if their development affects an overcrowded school that has more than 15% of the students in another jurisdiction, it requires mutual approval. But it does not, it does, in and of itself does not halt development, but it may have the effect if jurisdictions do not move forward. So that's kind of splitting hairs, but it's an important distinction. And again, I think they fully understood it, and it's important. It's important that we have as clear of an understanding with all of our community partners, and it's even more important when we're in situations where we're perceived as being the enemy or the obstacle. I think that's where clarity becomes extremely important, because there's no animosity on this board. There's no desire to block development on this board. There is a serious concern about adhering to the rules, the charter, et cetera. and a serious concern about overcrowded schools, rightly so. So anyway, I wanted to just bring that report to everybody. I want to again recognize your recommendation, Member Gould. Everybody agreed with it, and I appreciate that support. But I think it was an excellent decision, excellent meeting. Any questions? We have several. Dr. Gordon, and
yes,
then Member
thank
Gould.
you, Madam Chair. Okay, let me make sure. Okay, what position did we take on this when we took that vote? Because we didn't have unanimous.
Actually, we didn't take a vote on this at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the one we took the vote on?
Thank you. What we took a vote on was Hamrick Estate
Right.
at the last meeting, and the vote on that was
which deals a little bit with this, doesn't it?
It wasn't an approval of a CEA. Do you want to? I can see.
That it's going to come to that.
Go ahead.
So this, the Hamrick vote that you took at last board meeting didn't deal with approval of a CEA. What it dealt with was we were waiting for the city of Apopka to approve an amended and restated development agreement and amended and restated master development plan. And in the event that they did not, then we wanted to preserve the district's right to file suit. But if you recall, the last meeting was before the city of Apopka meeting, and so we went to the city of Apopka meeting and they did approve both of those things to move forward. So it's tangentially tied to this, but
I just wanted to make sure I brought that out because that was one of the reasons I wasn't clear of the understanding of it, because I know it's going to end up shooting over into this way. Okay, now, help me on this. And then I did have a question, but everybody is there. But I had a previous question, but you forgot to open it up. For the first one you talked about.
Mental Health Commission.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Just kind of bring me up to date on that, because did I miss something? I know we talked about it, but I don't remember any work session on it or anything to bring us up to date. And I hope I wasn't on the telephone and couldn't hear it all. So I know you're supposed to be representing us on the mental health condition, right? And who is really doing the meeting? I mean, who is it your meeting or Dr. Jenkins' meeting? I need to know. I mean, who called the meeting? It's not our board meeting. It's their meeting, and we're just coming, right?
No, it's a commission. It is a commission that I have formed with the support of the superintendent, and we have several members of staff.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
I think it was discussed, Dr. Jenkins, at the last meeting. I don't know.
So we didn't have to vote on that. We didn't vote on that. But it would have been nice to have a work session, because I'm just dumbfounded. Because I'm mental health, because I'm certified counseling and all, but I don't know about it. And then you all this board has changed times, not you guys, so many times. And a lot of us want to be here. And I did hear you say some cannot make it. I would be that one, that cannot. And then there was something about the time. It seemed as if I could make the tail end, but couldn't make it. But if it's the board, so I got to understand, is it board or is it just the chairman doing something on the side? I got to understand that, because if it's something being done on the side, then you don't need board approval. But if it's affecting the board and it's going to come to us, because each one of us could go out and get a little committee, But it's important what you're doing, but we do it. I just like working together as a team, and I like everybody being on the same accord, because we've done big time committees before. The Blue Ribbon Panel was my worst one that I did not care for, and I just didn't think they accomplished what we should have accomplished, and we could have done that with our own staff. So I don't know who is on it. Does it have anything to do with the school board? Will we know who these people are? Did we get a voice on that board? Who's speaking for District 5, representing District? Because then I always do this. When you get these little committees, I got to make sure they're not all coming out of your district. Because you already got 2 votes on this board, and you got an extra vote. So if you got this committee and you're going to come back, you have Pam vote, you have 2 votes, and then if most of the people on that commission lives in your district, then you have really violated our DSEG order, because we didn't have a chance to put somebody on that board from every district. Now, that's how we've been doing it, Dr. Jenkins. But if this is a separate entity that you and the superintendent are working on, then don't bring it to the board. That's something y'all do in the community, because we need to have a voice. Now, can you tell me who these people are and what district they live in?
I can tell you who the people are. I don't know that I can tell you what district they live in.
Then I would
So,
consider
Dr.
that.
Gordon, I do want to clarify, when you talk about my district as the chair,
No,
I do.
just use that as an example.
Okay,
I'm
because
just
I run
having fun with
countywide.
you.
Okay, no, I just want to make sure, because
But you got 2 votes, and you got.
I've
but I'm
never
just having
used,
fun with
the legislature gave me 2
Yeah, we
votes,
know-
but I've never used the 2
one that
votes. I'm
helped.
happy to say we've never gotten to that point where we've had
Nobody
such a
has.
close vote. No. Dr. Jenkins, can you help?
Let me mention a couple of things. And Dr. Gordon, members of the board, I apologize if there's a lack of clarity. So I initially talked about having a group that can inform and give recommendations to the board around youth mental health. Years ago, there was a mental health commission established at the county level. It was not concentrating on K-12. And since Mayor Demings has been in place, we did not want to try to somehow overtake that actual commission, because they have not been brought to conclusion. So we said we need a focus on K-12, because we have too many mental health issues and too many entities in the community that might want to recommend or give direction around how we ought to be dealing with our students. And so on 2 different occasions, I believe, I'll check the record, I mentioned it to the board and asked if you had recommendations of folks who could serve on the mental health commission to help give the board some recommendations, some information. They will have no authority other than to gather information and try to inform or give recommendations to the board. So mental health professionals within the community and medical professionals and others were brought up by staff, by members of the board. It is not a commission like our Unitary Status Commission, where there's a representative from each individual district. It is simply a countywide effort around K-12 mental health. I apologize if I was not clear on that issue. Staff have been working on it, and certainly because this is something that the chair is passionate about, she is certainly working very closely with it, but it was not a member by member district appointee to a board. I asked you for recommendations if you knew people who might have some expertise in that. By the time they expand into their committee work or work groups, there can certainly be lots more involved in it. It's just an opportunity, an effort to get as many experts as possible to help us wrap our hands around, our arms around the mental health of our young people.
Thank you so much, Madam Superintendent and Madam Chairman Perry. When I just used yours as an example. Yeah. Okay. But that wasn't, I know.
Yeah, I know you know.
Let me say this. I don't want anybody coming in talking about our district if we don't have a voice at the table. I'm sorry. Our kids are the one that got the mental health. Okay, if you did a little survey and you find out, didn't you see the lady coming here today talking? The Winter Park had their problem too, okay? But did you hear the problem that's going on? There are educated people in that community that can voice themselves. We're going to be going right back to the same message. Yes, Dr. Jenkins, everything we do at this board table is diversity. Everything we do at this board table are 8 people that should have a voice. Everything we do. And if we're going to get away from that and we just start picking our little, we're going to have a blue ribbon panel again. I refuse to sit on this board and go back through that blue ribbon panel again and watch our staff suffer and let people come in and tear off. You got to be very careful. We have enough experts in our own school. We're the educators. But that's why nobody look at us as experts, because you're always going in, grabbing up somebody else and not even asking our own people. I just met with a group of mental health counselors the other day, and they asked why we don't even use them. I said, well, I thought we were. You know, one girl told me she didn't even get hired at a school. And I think I was sending that to you, Dr. Jenkins. They stopped me and said, I put in for the mental health. They told me I could get the mental health. And then after I got it, they said they rescinded it. Now, I'm angry about that. And that's one thing I told you. I called you today to tell you I wanted to talk to you about that. No, let's get everybody represented on there. I mean, I know that there's somebody that we could get that know the children. Even poor Miss Harris, bless her little heart, she comes to everything. She just need a little bit more information. And then if she could get more information, it'll make her more effective. But I can't sit here and let people talk about my community and we are not at the table. I just need to know who is on it. Since you all already got it, can you call out some names and I'll do my own research? But I need to know what their titles are and who they are, because I was not asked, and I'm being honest, I was not called. I heard some board members were called. I was not called. I don't know how y'all can talk about our kids, and we're your weakest link right now, and we're trying to be your strongest link. And if we're not at the table, those people don't know that much about us. I'm just being honest. And if I'm not the voice up here, look what she said. She blamed all of us today. She blamed every board member up here today for not being at that one community meeting, which was unfair. But in a way, she had a point. But you can't go if you're not invited. So what did we just do to each other a minute ago? I can't go because I wasn't invited. It's on the calendar, but I can only pop in on the tail end. I can't even pop in on the tail end. Y'all will be dismissing by the time I get there. So you see, they already set their own little time. They need to set time like we set our time. Our board meetings are at that time. They need to set it at that time. It ought to be starting at 4:30. And people ought to be able to sit in. I'm going to tell you, I went through 19 and a half years of people telling this school board what to do when we have our own expertise. So I don't know. I wish I can ask you to rescind it and cancel it until we get positive representatives. Yes, Dr. Jenkins, you need representatives from every board up here for mental health. We all have mental health in our district. And I don't want any so-called experts that I don't know anything about telling us what to do with our kids when I can get a grandmother who can tell you what to do. I'm being honest. So if I don't sit here and voice my opinion, then I'm going to feel bad. So I just think, I mean, that's all well and good. But it reminds me of Blue Ribbon Panel. And if you all didn't know what that Blue Ribbon Panel was like, you're in for something. They're going to come up with their little recommendation. We're going to be running around trying to fix it. Then it's going to interfere with the budget. We as a board need to be right on top of it. And our representative represent us. Our superintendent is operations. We can get it going. I'm not against having it because we need it. But look like our mental health counselors could get together and work with those top mental health counselors out there that they are accountable to. They're not out there by themselves. These people are certified. And they have their own. So if I don't have, I have to do this. I have to, because if we don't, everybody going to come up here with their little committee, and then y'all going to be overworked, and you're not going to get what we're supposed to do done. Our agenda is what's important in keeping that budget together, balancing that budget and making sure we stay on task. So I just don't feel good about it. I do wish that we know. Can anybody give me any names?
I can. I was just waiting.
Title. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Madam Superintendent.
Okay.
And thank you, Board, for listening to me. But you all better learn to speak up to get representation from your committee. Stop letting people speak for you about your children. We're the ones out there in the community. They don't even go. So, I mean, they look to us to make sure we get everything that those kids need. Thank you. And I love you guys. I really do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so to speak to the issue, no. I just had it. Here we go. The folks that will be represented either on the committee or on the technical support team from Orange County Public Schools. And let me say at the outset that this group was a group recommended by our own internal team, and that includes, obviously, Dr. Catherine Schuler. It includes Jody Boyce, who is the OCPS SEDNet coordinator. I believe that would be the correct title. That includes Pam Clark, representing primary education, Anna Williams-Jones, who's the director of mental health for Orange County Public Schools, Mary Ann Anderson, licensed mental health counselor for Orange County Public Schools, Wendy Ivory, OCPS K through 8, and Mary Bridges, executive director of student services. Those are the internal team that is either on the committee or on the technical advisory committee. Externally, we have representing the chief judge. We reached out to the chief judge because of juvenile issues related to mental health. And let me say that having created the Youth Mental Health Commission in Orange County, which not because of my work, but because of the work that team did, we created invaluable programs, one of them being the youth, it's the youth mobile crisis units that are available. Member Gallo, you and I have met to discuss this, that are available to any family, anytime, that believes that they have a child who is a threat to themselves or to someone else. So a number of invaluable programs came out of that. This is modeled after the same approach. It is not modeled after the idea that we are looking for people from specific districts as much as it's looking for people from specific organizations that we need to collaborate with, because while we are focused on what happens in the classroom, one of our big problems has been what happens in the classroom also needs to be happening at home. So if we're providing one set of services for mental challenges that our children, or emotional challenges our children are going through, we also want to have continuity of care. So some of the other organizations represented. Sharon Warner with Orange County Drug Free Division. She's also a SAFE ambassador and is intimately involved in mental health at the federal level. Sharon Washington with DCF, a critical partner in this, the Department of Children and Family Services. Nemours Children's Hospital. Nemours Children's Hospital not only brings a great deal of expertise, but they were also the major underwriter for the youth mental health crisis service. Devereaux is the primary provider for the mental health services for, again, the crisis service, which is used almost extensively, nearly exclusively in Osceola County, not as much here, but is a valuable service that I think is greatly under-recognized by a lot of our parents. I mentioned the chief judge, a representative from he's not going to serve, but a representative who serves on juvenile justice will be serving Marie Bledsoe, chief executive officer with Central Florida Cares. Michael Bryant with Embrace Families, Dr. Karen Van Cooley with the Florida Alliance for Healthcare. Their role, I could go into their role, but their president at a national level was formerly with the NAMI organization, which I think most people know, and he is on a national committee on mental health. So I think their involvement, and they also represent 150 organizations, employers across Central Florida. And so they asked for the opportunity to be involved. I mentioned the Department of Children and Family Services. Let's see. Josephine Medina from Multilingual Services. We thought it was important also recognizing the large number of Hispanic members in our student population and the language and cultural issues, that it was very important to have her at the table. Michael Musinski, who is the former dean of medical school for FSU, who served on the previous commission. Dr. Lisa Spector, I mentioned from Nemours Hospital. Debbie Watson with the Winter Park Foundation, and Donna Weich with the Mental Health and Homeless Division with Orange County Government.
Oh, it's the committee?
Yes, ma'am.
So,
committee and technical
I don't
support.
know how you all going to talk. Can you do one thing for me, you and Dr. Jenkins, please, Madam Superintendent? I didn't hear any diversity on there. I heard you mention Hispanic, but I didn't hear African American. I didn't hear Haitian, Caribbeans. I didn't hear a Hispanic representative. Everybody that I see here, most of these that I know are white Anglo-Saxon. I don't see very many that, if you had gotten it when Judge Perry was the chief judge, but he couldn't be there, then you would at least had it. Let me just say this. I have 33rd Street Jail, and if you look at, and Ms. Colbert has Michigan. And there's nobody that you all have gotten. And those kids, and then I think you need to look at how many African Americans are in jail. Then when they're released with the mental health, we are the factors that got to deal with that. The Hispanics are in jail. When you look at my school, 99%, well, I don't want to better not say 99, but it is. About 90% of the young men in my school are Hispanic, and that's about everywhere. We used to look at our discipline report, and I'm going to leave with you that. The discipline report, always look at your diversity of who's being expelled and question it. Don't ever be afraid to question it. When I came on this board, all of the blacks were being expelled. All of the Hispanic male. And I wondered, where are the white male? That's a mental health problem. That's mentally killing the families. And that's why I call Dr. Jenkins all the time. Give me a social worker. They got to go to the parents. We got to extend them out there. I'm going to ask the chairman if the board, since they didn't allow to ask us, I don't know how they could ask to be, I don't know how the Alliance can ask to be a part of the mental health on the board. I don't know all about it, but I guess all the board members are well-versed. So I'm letting the public know, and my team don't hold me responsible because I'm not well-versed on this. And it seems like you all have had many meetings, and that's why I love work sessions, because work sessions will get us to explore what we're looking for. These are our children, and that's what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the welfare of the children. That's why I still teach. 52 years, I'm still teaching. It'll come to an end, but I'm still teaching because somebody got to help them. So I don't see diversity, Dr. Jenkins, here. And you're talking about my students. And I think you need, and I before you did this, I just want to ask, since you brought it to the board, that's why we have work sessions, then I could have asked all these questions in the work session. How many of these kids are they talking about? What percentage of the children that you have with mental health records? What percentage that made you want to put this commission together? We kind of know in our district what it is, but what's the overall percentages, Dr. Jenkins, Madam Chair, if you could address that to Dr. Jenkins and just find out for me, she could give it to me at a later date, what percentage that we would put a commission of this caliber of no diversity together to talk about kids in our district and families in our district, and they have no voice. What percentage?
Okay, I will ask Dr. Jenkins if she can get that back to you. I do want to address the issue of diversity. There are, let me mention Captain Dan Gutierrez is serving on behalf of Chief Mina, obviously.
Well, I didn't hear Mina.
I mentioned the sheriff. I thought I might not have.
No,
I might have missed him. I'm sorry. I might have missed him. So I reached out to the sheriff. Let me explain. As much as diversity is important, to reach out to, for instance, the executive director for DCF, and to tell her that I would appreciate having DCF represented there, but if she's Caucasian, to say to her, I'm sorry, but I need somebody else other than you. Is not, it depends on whether we're just looking for the right mix of people, or are we looking for organizational support. So in the case of Dr. Sharon Washington, she is African American. However, the person that she assigned to represent her, I don't know her. Her name is Jill Crone. I don't know. And I'm, as much as I'd like to always have the perfect mix of individuals, it's hard when you're reaching to organizations to tell them who they can appoint. So Sharon Warner is African American. Josephine is Hispanic. Captain Dan Gutierrez is Hispanic. Anna Williams Jones is African American. Kathy Schuler is African American. I don't know about Jody or Pam Clark. Okay.
About
Yeah.
outsiders. Talking about the outsiders. There's so many outsiders, but we're still not represented from our district.
I understand. So the problem seems to, I'm not sure what, I have to admit.
We can add something if we are there, and I'm going to end it with that.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I think the point that you made, if we're bringing it to the board, we need to do it differently. And the reality is, this wasn't being brought to the board to say, is the board going to create this? And what Dr. Jenkins did was shared with everybody that we are creating this group of individuals with certain, representing certain organizations that were beneficial from the standpoint of their expertise or from collaboration. And it seemed appropriate to make sure the board was aware it was happening and to invite board members. And that's what we've done. And working with Dr. Jenkins, did not anticipate that this was going to be a problem. Dr. Jenkins?
I would just add, and we did on more than one occasion ask board members if they had recommendations for the council to get those names to me as well. Certainly, if there's some need for further analysis of the group, or if there is an absolute exclusion of some particular population, we can certainly look at that. It's not written in stone, but I did ask this board for recommendations.
You may have asked the board, but I did not get asked.
It was at the board table.
Well, for God's sake.
Okay. Member Gould.
Before I go to the other subject, on this one, I think what would be helpful is after the meeting, which I'm going to try to come to, but I do have a conflict, so I don't know if I'll make it from one side of town to here in time, because I didn't see it on my calendar until last evening. But I think what would be helpful is to understand what the goals and the objectives are for this committee, and what we're looking for feedback and their expertise. One group that I would suggest, and I do recall the all call, it may have been helpful to have a more specific ask to us, because I did not respond to the all call either. But Aspire, only because they are the partner for the county, the sheriff, for Baker Acts. They serve every single youth through homeless, through their system. And they are the one resource that most of these other agencies are going to rely on if there's new initiatives that come out. So you may want to have them at the table, either as a resource arm advisory, or and then they're connected to every other social agency out there, and they're non-governmental. So that, I think, is another advantage of not just having too many government entities at the table.
Right. I appreciate that. I'm trying to remember. I think there was a reason why they are not on the commission. There will be, as I mentioned, there will be subcommittees.
Right.
There will be, which will expand the representation here, and can include expanding it to make sure that it is district representation as well. And I'm trying to remember the reason for Aspire, because when you say that, that seems obvious, and yet I think. So let me see if there was some reason for not
and
having them directly.
I think if they're in that resource
Absolutely.
group, that
Absolutely.
they're going to be able to connect a lot of dots that, certainly.
Absolutely.
Okay, shifting gears now.
Yeah.
Back to the CEA.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you not only for listening and you and our team going and having that meeting with GOBA. I think that is very clear. I think it's helping to get the facts out instead of the reactions, then people jumping to conclusions on what we're trying to do or not trying to do with the circumstance that we're in, with the conflict of the charter amendments as well as the legislation. the more we can directly get those messages to the people who are influencing development, have their livelihoods riding on that development, instead of it playing the newsletter or telephone game, I think the better off we are. So maybe I know there's been a Q&A that our general counsel is putting together, but maybe there's one that we can circulate, especially those of us who have a lot of development in our communities, with those that we just know are out there and still heavy into the next 10 to 15 years of planning, because they have to understand where the pinch points are for development, and it is in rules that exist, not in things that we're necessarily doing at the table at this moment. And I think that's the disconnect, because as I'm out there at chamber meetings or in the community, they're saying, you have stopped. And I'm saying, I don't think so, but hold on. So I think the more we can, have the clarification that we had around this newsletter article, and then get the Q&A out there as we get briefed to those people, especially on the legal side. The legal counsel, they can help translate what's in the legislation and in the charter, and say, these are in conflict, these are the pinch points here for our development. It's just stuck right now. We're just stuck. So that's the only comment that and thank you for taking the lead on that.
So the Q&A, I don't have, Ms. Emble, have you worked on a Q&A? Okay. Okay, talking points. Okay, I was thinking the Q&A isn't a bad approach, but I think having talking points, having something that's uniform that can be sent out also when you're hearing something is important. Also, yeah, yes, that's a great point. Yeah,
they all gotta get
yeah,
on the same page.
it's so darn complicated. That every time I think about trying to write something that's going to say it all and say it correctly, it's mammoth. So, but maybe Ms. Emble could do a better job at
I think
simplifying.
I think the simplification, and then if there's more questions, but right now we have these things where we've literally pinched off the water, right? And it's not that the flow can't go, it's just there is a blockage.
Right.
And if we can make it that simple, and that what these things are that are in conflict with what we're all wanting to accomplish, which means we can get enough student stations and we don't stop roads and sidewalks and all those things from getting finished.
But we don't have much time left.
No, we
either.
don't.
And also, I did want to mention that I know that Orange County has, and I know that Commissioner Vanderlei in particular has reached out to all of the developers who are stopped right now at the county level because they're not processing, since they don't have a CEA, they're not moving forward with any action. So she's reached out to all of them to make sure that they understand what the situation is and why this fix is important to them. So she's completely, I think, my conversations with her, I think she completely understands it and understands why we need the support to make that happen.
I can validate that is true.
Yeah. All right, Member Gallo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few things in talking about the CEAs. So I've been talking to Cody, who's our legislative director up in Tallahassee, because I have to tell you that I'm not certain that there's a good understanding of what we're trying to do up in Tallahassee or with the developers, because I think the perception is we are trying to stop development, and that's what they're saying, and that's what they're saying, more importantly, in Tallahassee. So I received talking points from Cody Woody, because I asked him for them, because there is language that we're trying to run through Tallahassee to fix this problem. I don't know if those are the same talking points that we're discussing today, or if these are legislative talking points versus community talking points. So maybe a little clarity on that. But another question is, we're working on a legislative fix. We know how Tallahassee goes. If we do not get one, what is our options? What is our plan B? And it almost makes sense that maybe this should be something that we should workshop just for transparency. I know that people are going to come visit us individually, but visiting board members individually is a lot different than having this conversation in the open with input from the public, which is what I think for transparency's sake needs to happen so that we can clarify some of the issues and some of the rumors and the bad information that's circulating in our community and up in Tallahassee.
Ms. Simbel?
So since it is such a very complicated process, so that we can have your questions answered and those things, but I don't have a problem with moving forward with a work session if you feel that we need to do that as well.
I thought it was a good idea for us to do it in the work session. And I think Ms. Enville thought it would be a good idea to be able to meet one-on-one with each of you to answer any questions, and then we could do both. I think would be beneficial as well.
Yeah.
In terms of a plan B, we can talk about that during the work session. Unfortunately, I don't think we have a plan B because the charter is what it is, and I think that's what we need to talk through. I'm with you. I keep thinking, what's the plan B? And I don't know that any of us
have the answer.
Yeah. I think that I think a workshop's going to be helpful. I think the plan B is really for the cities and the county to work out. I think our role is we answer the question, do we or don't we have capacity? Can we or can't we enter into a CEA? After that, I think that the cities and the counties need to work through what they're going to do when they have those answers. But we'll have that workshop, but I do think being able to make sure everybody can ask the questions that they want to ask directly of legal might be beneficial first.
Sure. Can I have a follow-up?
Of course.
So I am concerned because it does seem like there isn't a plan B. We're in week 5 of the legislative session, and yes, so I'm concerned about our ability at this point to push this forward.
I am too. I'm not optimistic anymore.
Mainly because this is so individual to Orange County Public Schools.
No, I understand. That's why we tried to get the major law firms that represent the bulk of the development industry at the table. And I think that they understood it. And I think that the conversation with the leadership at GOBA was very positive. But even with all that, I'm not optimistic. And I can only tell you that I spent the whole weekend just pouring through options in my head and trying to get as much information and trying to figure out what is the option. And I just don't know that there's a plan B for us. And it's hard for me to accept that, but I'm just trying to get it clear in my head. What's our role? What's the county's role? What's the city's role? And I'm not sure that we have a role past answering those two questions. The problem with this is making sure everybody understands that. So we'll have to continue to work on that. And I think the idea, though, of having something that's tangible, well-written, that we can send out, very good suggestion. Very good suggestion. Okay. Member Lopez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In reference to the Mental Health Commission, I highly appreciate that. I think it's a great idea. But I also understand the opinion of Dr. Gordon. I just received the invitation today, and I think that is a short notice for all of us. Last minute, we have a huge agenda with a lot of commitments, so I believe that it will be better for us to have that type of invitation in advance. But I think that is a great opportunity, but I also align my thoughts with Dr. Gordon. I want to also appreciate and say thank you to Angie Gallo as well, because she took one of my District 2 elementary school to Tallahassee, and that is amazing. Give them the opportunity to meet the First Lady and to be in a legislative room and just sharing with another representative is an amazing opportunity, and I highly appreciate that because we are here to work together for our students. I also want to make a comment about the student code of conduct that is part of our agenda. I have to congratulate the team that worked for the code of conduct, because we have the neutral gender dress code, and it's very inspiring. I believe that for the first time I'm not seeing the this is for the girls, this is for the boys, so all of us should feel the same way, included into the schools. So another highlight that I want to do is the Teacher of Color Summit. 2 weeks ago, I was there participating, and I was part of the panel. So the teachers of color, the African American and the Hispanic are facing the same challenges. And we have the same needs, and sometimes when I listen to Dr. Kat, I really align with her opinion. So I highly appreciate that as well. So it was very inspirational, and when we always have space to grow. We have to think about that. Also, I would like to talk about the policy FF. 2 months ago, I was asking for a revision for that policy, and I'm still not have any response. I would like to know more feedback. What is the status of the policy FF based on renaming and naming the schools?
Yeah, it's on the following list, so it would be in the spring. We will have to have this conversation, and even if you had it on the list, it wouldn't go through all of the advertisements and any changes that the board wanted to have in place in time for a decision next board meeting. But it is on General Counsel's list for revision.
Okay, so it's gonna be during spring, before. So we're gonna have the renaming and the conversation about Stonewall Jackson before.
Because under that policy currently is written that is your prerogative. You could still still name or rename the school.
Even if I'm not even if I don't follow the bylaws on that policy?
Well, the board ultimately has the decision on the name of the school.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I also have the last question, I'm sorry. I was thinking about the Puerto Rican students as well. But I'm just have a question about what type of initiative we have for the Puerto Rican students that are coming from the earthquake. Do we have any type of mental health support for them when they arrive to the schools?
So every school, through their counseling department and their admission department, is dealing with those needs. We've not had significant needs expressed, but we have counselors and mental health counselors in all of our schools that are available for assistance. Nowhere near the kind of fallout we had in the devastation after the hurricane, but we've got services provided for those students, both through the homeless and through our mental health counseling.
So they can identify the 190 when they come in.
189 students are identified
and follow
and supported.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Member Gould.
It occurred to me that prior to this board coming on, Daryl Flynn and I co-hosted a How We Build Schools, and they are in. The staff did an amazing presentation, kind of the start to finish, and we broke it into 4 modules. And the impact fees and the CEAs were described in there. That may also be somewhat helpful just as background as we get into these more specific talking points. And you can listen to it when you're getting ready in the morning. It makes it easier.
Thank you, Gould. That's one of the things that we are going to provide to you in our one-on-ones. It was very helpful.
It's been a while since I watched it, but my recollection, though, from the standpoint of outward looking, a developer looking at it, I think it deals more with the technical aspects of OCPS and what they walk through. What I think is important for developers to understand is is more narrow than what was covered there, and yet more broad. I know that's confusing, but I think what they need to understand is what questions are asked of us, what is our latitude in terms of answers, then what happens, and what was missing, if I remember right, about this from the perspective of this issue, is then what happens. And the then what happens is the part where it goes back to the local governing jurisdiction. And they then decide, should we go ahead and approve it or not? And they have that right to say, you know what, we understand that, but it's not very overcrowded, and we're okay with this, and we understand the situation, and we think it's more important to move this development forward or not, just like they used to have back in, before all of this. So I think we need to just expand the scope probably a little bit of what was there.
Yeah.
But it's a foundation.
Right.
For the board.
Not for the board. Not
definitely for the board.
I mean, the developers are welcome
Yeah.
to watch it, but
Yeah.
no, because a lot of that was more targeted to the questions that we get asked, I get asked in particular. At almost every single community meeting I do. So
Yes,
it
why the
was
school's
much more
overcrowded.
the what we go through in that. But it does give a nice general overview of the impact fees and what that process is with the county, more for our background, because
You're
they
right.
certainly understand that. But
Yeah.
then it helps to reinforce those talking points as we get more specific on this particular pinch points that we're facing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Any further comments? If not, the meeting is now adjourned.